Hi, today we're going to be talking about the New Deal to give you better knowledge about it. Before we get into our topic, let's start by talking about some background information like the Great Depression. Before we talk about the New Deal, it's important to mention the Great Depression in order to understand why the New Deal was a necessary measure at the time. The Great Depression was a period of great economic recession that began after the stock market crash of October 1929, which sent Wall Street into a panic and wiped out millions of investors. As a cause, companies lost enormous amounts and money and were accordingly forced to let go most of their staff due to significant budget cuts. By 1933, when the Great Depression reached its lowest point, some 15 million Americans were unemployed and nearly half the country's banks had failed. As a result, it caused millions of people to be homeless, and many families found themselves unable to even put food on their families' tables. President Hoover, a Republican who had formerly served as a U.S. Secretary of Commerce, believed that the government should not directly intervene in the economy, and that it did not have the responsibility to create jobs or provide economic relief for its citizens, which was his biggest mistake considering that it worsened the situation. It was very clear then that it was necessary for the United States population to elect a new president that would take actions in order to save the economy and the poor population. Accordingly, Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected in 1933 and became the 32nd American president. Franklin promised to help those who were affected and in need. He led the U.S. through the Great Depression by creating the New Deal in the United States between 1933 and 1939. The New Deal was a series of regulations, programs, and public work projects. It improved the economy by responding to needs and recovery from the Great Depression. Furthermore, the New Deal programs were known as the 3 R's. Roosevelt believed that relief, reform, and recovery combined could bring economic stability to the nation. Reform programs helped by preventing the disaster to happen again. Relief programs were to help people as soon as possible by attempting to employ people. Recovery programs focused on stabilizing the economy by creating long-term employment opportunities, decreasing agricultural supply to drive prices up, and helping homeowners pay mortgages and stay in their homes. Overall, the New Deal was a success by putting people back to work, saving capitalism, restoring faith in the American economic system, and giving hope to the American people.
Despite the implementation of the first New Deal, the economic depression continued and the situation wasn't getting any better. Therefore, President Roosevelt decided to implement new laws and regulations known as the Second New Deal, which were implemented between 1935 and 1938. One of the first features of the Second New Deal was the Social Security Act. They basically set up a system in order to follow up the unemployments, retired people, orphans, and more. They did this in order to offer pensions and money for these people. Also, the Second New Deal is when the government started to tax the wealthy more than the poor in order to distribute wealth around people. Another important project was the Works Progress Administration, which was implemented to help the millions of people who were unemployed. This administration helped 8 million unemployed people get hired for jobs in building public projects such as airports, schools, roads, parks, and bridges. Another act formed was the National Labor Relations Act, which secured unions and affirmed workers' rights. In addition, a labor law called the Fair Labor Standards. This labor law protected workers and guaranteed their rights. Each worker had a maximum work week of 44 hours and a minimum wage of 25 cents per hour. More importantly, an authority called the United States Housing Authority was formed in which they damaged old buildings and slums to build new and better homes for the homeless. While Roosevelt's New Deal did not end the Great Depression, it gave jobs to millions. And it also formed the SEC and the FDIC, which are two major agencies in the American government right now. The New Deal restored faith in the American economy and government. It provided a new sense of security. Now the government is expected to intervene and provide when needed. It set a standard for social welfare and subsidies for American citizens. Social welfare is one of the most important factors in the American government due to the New Deal. New infrastructures and institutions were built and still exist. World War II is considered the reason why the Great Depression ended, since a full employment economy was created due to people getting employed in the army. Thank you.